Hello. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Just in Time Cafe. Hi, Olga. Hi, Tracy. I am so psyched you guys are here today. I am Elizabeth Swan, if you have not met me before, and I'm going to be your moderator today. If you have never been to the cafe before, you are in for a treat. Today's webinar is titled Strategic Innovation, Empowering Changemakers, with an awesome team from the city of Port St. Lucie, Florida. And let me tell you a little bit about the team. Kate Parmelee is Director of Strategic Initiatives and Innovation for the city of Port St. Lucie. Along with her team members, we've got Phillip Corsi, he's Training and Development Coordinator, and Sabrina McLeod, Grants and Strategic Initiatives Project Manager. And we're going to find out about their journey planning a successful program to spark Changemakers, which is great. So just a few housekeeping notes before we get rolling. You can ask questions anytime, just put them into the chat area. And there's also Q&A. I'll keep an eye on that in case someone puts a question in there, but we're loose. We're happy to answer questions right in chat. And there's a recording of this session. So that will be available by Monday of next week. If you want to look at it again or share it with anybody else, it'll be on our website, the Just in Time Cafe at jitcafe.com. First, I want to find out where you are from. We usually get folks from far and wide, so we want to know where you are dialing in from right now. Let's see where you are joining us from today. Hello, Todd from Lompoc. Hello, Laurel from Seattle. Katie, welcome from the Central Coast. Stephanie, Ottawa. We're officially international people. We have someone from Ottawa. We've got Olga from Redwood, awesome. Celine, San Diego, Tracy's hometown, Dina from Des Moines, Bryn from Vermont. Whoa, Leo from Rio de Janeiro, very welcome. Our first Brazilian participant today. Emily, the other end of the earth, South Dakota. Michael, Wake County, North Carolina, awesome. Alyssa in Tacoma, awesome. And Sam, welcome from Vancouver. Rebecca, West Virginia. Salome, Port St. Lucie, welcome. International attendees, I agree, Tracy. It is awesome. It is fabulous. Okay, so now I would like to tell you a little bit of before I introduce the team, let me come back and tell you about our upcoming webinar, what's coming up next. Hey, Katie Bockwell in Vermont. Okay, so all of you get ready. There'll be a link soon for our author, Thomas Bertels. He'll be coming to the cafe August 24th. That's a Thursday, back to Thursdays. I know we made an exception for this awesome team on a Wednesday. He just published a book called Fixing Work, Designing Jobs Employees Love. And he's going to give us a webinar on what goes into designing jobs that employees love. And I also want to tell you about the podcast that is out right now. One more slide. Next. Yep, there we go. So that is with Mark Graben. He's also just got a book out, The Mistakes That Make Us. And it was a fascinating conversation with Mark about, the mistakes we make and how culture impacts whether we can embrace and learn from those or not. We also, on that webinar, Tracy and I touch on an app that helps you form good habits, which is awesome. We also had a conversation about, how to connect finance with problem solvers, right? We often don't treat our improvement efforts as the assets they are. So we talk about how to make that happen. Okay, so with that, I want to say welcome to Kate Parmelee, Sabrina McLeod, and Phillip Corsi. Hello. Welcome, team.
Hello.
And I am handing the reins over to you all. Take it away.
Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for having us. We're huge fans of you and Tracy, and you've been so helpful to us in this journey. So I didn't know if you already introduced our team. Have you shared our background already?
I just gave your names and your titles. If you want to fill in a little more, Kate, I'd love it.
Sure. Well, my name is Kate Parmelee. I'm the Director of Strategic Initiatives at the City of Port St. Lucie. So I work in the City Manager's Office and I lead our grants and advocacy, innovation work, and strategic planning work. And I'm going to let Sabrina introduce herself next and followed by Phillip.
Yes. Hi, my name is Sabrina McLeod. I am the Grants and Strategic Initiatives Project Manager at here in Port St. Lucie. And I'm so excited to be presenting with you all today and talking about everything we're doing in terms of innovation.
And I'm Phillip Corsi. I'm the Training and Development Coordinator with the City of Port St. Lucie Human Resources Department. So yes, I am excited to be here with you all as well. Big fan.
Thanks. And, our topic is really about strategic innovation and empowering change makers. And these are two of the best change makers you could ever work with. So I'm really excited for them to share some of the work they've been doing and that we've been working on in Port St. Lucie as a team. So, so strategic innovation. Well, next slide, please. In terms of that topic, I kind of wanted to first back up a bit and give you a little history about the City of Port St. Lucie. We are, if you haven't heard of us, which you probably haven't, if you're not familiar with Florida, we're the largest city between Orlando and Miami. We're really a growing city. We're the third largest city in South Florida, and we just received over 20,000 new residents in the last 2 years alone. So we're very proud that despite all of this growth, we remain one of the safest places to live in the United States. One of the fastest growing places, a great place to retire, and one of the best places to live in Florida. But our city was really created. It was a classic Florida swamp peddler story. It was a developer that wanted to sell 80,000 quarter-acre lots in Florida to retirees from New York City. They put sand in Times Square here and beach balls and tried to get everyone, even though we aren't on the beach and we don't have a port, but they called us Port St. Lucie to try to attract people here. So we were this place where you could have a dream retirement location, but we're not built with sidewalks, with a sewer system, with a downtown, with jobs, with places to. So we really were lacking key pieces of what makes a great city. And we're now over 200,000 people and growing, and we're going to be continue to grow at a rapid pace. So we have to think strategically and innovatively as a city. And so we're going to talk today about kind of our program was created really to try to empower the change makers that make up the workforce of the City of Port St. Lucie to try to bring change forward and meet the changing needs of our growing city. So we're going to talk to you today about how we align our work with the strategic plan, how we launched our innovation program, how we paused to plan, working with Elizabeth and Tracy and their support, and how we're working the plan. So in the City of Port St. Lucie, we really focus on our strategic plan as a whole, as a city. And that's what's been really exciting to see, because I've worked in other local governments, and the city council and the mayor really use their strategic plan to figure out what it is they want to do to take the city to the next level and what step. And they have 7 goals. One of our newest goals is a smart and connected city, actually places innovation at the heart of that goal. But it's something that they've worked at every year and continue to fine tune. And it's really helps align our entire organization to make sure that we are all on the same page in terms of where the city should go next. But it didn't, when we started out with using our strategic plan of several years ago to really make change, it didn't go as well as I think we hoped. So I think we wanted to share this slide that really, I feel like aligning our organization looked like this picture, which is the day Sweden switched driving on the left-hand side of the road to the right in 1967. You can see there were crashes, there's confusion, there was trying to figure out who's going where or how this new flow. So I think that, we just wanted to say that change is really hard. We went through that process of trying to get everyone on the same page and getting our departments to change and to change the way they think, change the way they plan their projects. And we really thought that, innovation and getting support to departments to think differently was really the heart of our program. And so we came upon this work rather organically because we were faced with this situation and we were thinking, how do we provide support? How do we help our team make the change and use new tools to bring us forward? Meanwhile, we were seeing great changes along the way, and we really changed the way we were doing things. We started to win national awards for the work we did with resident engagement. We have a citizen summit that draws over 800 people every year that kicks off our strategic planning. Citizen and input is really woven into everything we do that really changed over the past few years. And so we saw amazing momentum throughout the organization as we started to think differently and to really think about how do we meet the needs of our community in a new way. And one of the things that we started to work on as we were building and having this great momentum was the development of an innovation program. We brought Brian Elms from Peak Academy, formerly with Peak Academy, and he came to our city. We had a book club. We were getting started. And then the world changed. So we were having this great momentum and we really needed to adjust again. We had to adjust all of our outreach efforts of our strategic plan, change our normal 800 people in a room summit to an exploration trail of the strategic plan and a virtual summit. So we had to pivot and think differently. And as we were going through that process, we were talking to Brian Elms, who was working with us on the the Innovation Academy. And he said, I've always wanted to start a virtual Innovation Academy. And so we decided to be his first client for that. And we decided to build a virtual Innovation Academy during the pandemic. So we didn't stop. We kept going. We kept the momentum going. And what we were very fortunate with is around that time, the pandemic brought Sabrina McLeod back to Port St. Lucie. She had interned with us for the past 3 summers, and she was finishing her master's degree in public health from Boston University. And because the school shut down and she was home, she wanted to work back with us. And we needed a project manager for the innovation projects that we were looking to do. And knowing Sabrina's work ethic and her ability to get things done, I thought she was the perfect choice. And Phillip Corsi arrived during the pandemic to become a trainer with us, was literally sent home his first day on the job, and joined the team and said, launch a training program for our entire city from your kitchen. So, and that's what we did. And so we had Sabrina, brand new former intern as an innovation project manager, Phillip, brand new training and development manager, sent home on the first day. And we had to foster and create and build this innovation program we wanted to launch. So we decided not to be deterred by that. And so I'm going to turn it over to Phillip to talk about more of that story and how that came about.
So virtual training and innovation projects, chugging along from the kitchen, from your desk, all at one point. And I think in 2021, we offered over 138 opportunities for professional development in the form of virtual training for our employee population. Just incredible, right? You can bring, just like the Just-in-Time Cafe, you could bring folks in from all over and at a fraction of the cost prior to the forced move to virtual. So all corners of the city we could bring together as well, which is important for our city being the 3rd largest city by landmass in Florida. And we could wear shorts every day from our kitchens. Unbelievable. But then we started to see a change. Our cameras started to come off. Completion rate percentages and the online training started to drop. There were too many meetings. There were too much time spent on screen. There was a fatigue, right? A shift away from virtual. And so instead of time between meetings to walk to your physical location, your calendar was packed, back-to-back meetings after meetings, because they were virtual, right? You can become so much more productive. But this would allow for only so long. And those hour-long meetings, they had to only be 55 minutes, right? Just to allow you a chance to breathe and take a bio break. And so from there, we started coming back to the office. So we had to change it up again.
Yes. And so before we even had that fatigue, we did have some success virtually, right? So we had we worked on a lot of projects, and we did great work. We did the Swale project. We were able to work with departments. We worked with over 5 departments, had over 50 innovations come out of the Swale project, and were able to address the high call volume areas, reduce call volume for people calling about high swale. Our utility systems, they had a grinder project. We were able to work with that department with over 30 employees and create a whole new communication campaign that was based off of data, that did data analysis on their call volume. And so we were able to have a targeted sewer concern campaign to specific people who are maybe misusing the system. And then also for solid waste, as we were going through a transition in solid waste haulers, it was kind of like a question of like, what did residents need and versus what was affordable? And like, we needed to know, this would be a huge shift in behavior. So working with the behavioral insights team, we were able to create 20 plus behavioral recommendations to give to our council that supported right with scientific research that showed that these few changes can make a big difference in residents accepting the new changes that would be to come. And so like Phillip and Kate mentioned, we had great success online, but like they said, it was all online, and those cameras still went off after a time, and it was hard to come back to the office, really. And so, Phillip, do you want to bring up the question?
So we'd love to hear from you all. Have you updated or felt the need to update your innovation approach since the world changed?
I just launched it. Can you see it?
I can. Thanks, Elizabeth. It says I can't vote, so.
No, you're not allowed. That would be.
Oh, that's fair. That's probably a good thing.
You're part of management. You're part of management. You gotta hold back while everyone else gets a shot at this. And I'll let it go a little bit longer. We've got almost everybody. All right, I'm gonna end that and then share.
Wow, brilliant. So 96% affirmative, 4% no change since the world changed. Brilliant. Well, thank you for your feedback. That collaboration always energizes me. I'd love to hear from you all, and I appreciate that. So yeah, so let's talk further. I see a question in the chat, but we'll probably handle those toward the end. Is that appropriate, Elizabeth?
You can answer now if you feel like it. It's up to you.
Yeah. Okay. So I will. We'll answer it, I suppose, together all at the end there. So the National Employee Survey, each year in typical government fashion, we survey our employee population via the National Employee Survey, which means that our results are benchmarked with organizations that are similar to ours across the United States. And it tells us how we're doing in comparison. But this time we lobbied to include a custom question that was unique to our city, in that we asked employees to rate the importance of various characteristics in developing a strong innovation program. And the data returned was the fuel that we needed to greenlight our transformation in our training program. And over 90% of our employee population, or rather those that decided to return the survey, supported dedicated work time to brainstorm innovation in their daily work, opportunities to come together, to collaborate, support each other. And 90% advocated as very or somewhat important the safety to fail and to try new ideas, and to increase training, which of course made me happy. So, Kate, tell them how we did it.
Thanks, Phillip. Well, first, I just wanted to say that just when you saw the slides that Sabrina was sharing with all of the amazing innovation projects and all of the training that both Phillip and Sabrina provided, it was just really extraordinary, just what that did. And we wanted to continue that positive momentum and to keep growing it. And we really felt that though so many things had changed, and we really had started it with we just got started. You know, we didn't really know where we were heading. We really just wanted to get started. And Sabrina was willing and Phillip was willing, and they learned these incredible skills and just turned into these amazing facilitators and trainers. And now we had all these amazing components, but we realized we hadn't really stopped to think about where we were going. And here we are, you know, we're the strategic planning people, you know, so we really needed to follow our own advice with the rest of the organization and to slow down, even though things had been so hectic. We were doing so many different things because for our team is really an example for those that maybe you're not just dedicated to innovation. We are really doing, we do grants, we do advocacy, we do strategic planning. So we do lots of different things. So what we're doing is we're adding on to our existing full plate. So we really needed to innovate strategically. So we started to develop our plan, and with the help of Elizabeth and speaking with Tracy, and it was so helpful because we had seen an episode actually of the Just in Time Cafe, a webinar with Peak Academy in Denver, who is really we look up to them so much. They're the inspiration for our innovation program. And so when we heard them talk about how they created their strategic plan, we really felt like, okay, this is our time. We really need to create this plan. So what this gave us is we really took that pause, even though we were worried, okay, we're pausing training. We're not offering training this month. Are we going to lose momentum in this program? But we really felt like it was important enough to take a break and to really figure out what are we doing and why are we doing it? So we really thought about our mission through this process, that we want to ignite innovation by empowering change makers moving our community forward. The magic in this program is empowering the people doing the work throughout the departments and empowering Sabrina and Phillip and our whole team, like to just to be change makers, to keep making change. And then our vision is really to build a city team illuminated with new ideas and the courage to co-create the future. You know, we did some vision boards, and we really thought about how all of this takes courage. You know, and when I mentioned our city's history, we were a very different city at the start. We were a very different city 10 years ago. We will be a very different city in the future. So it's going to take courage, because we have to really change and overhaul systems throughout and processes throughout the city if we're going to make that leap. And then we landed on these goals, which we're going to all speak about: launching a program that ignites innovation, keeping the innovation culture burning, activating meaningful data, and to co-create innovation. You can see our logo is that came through this process, this light bulb with the fire inside. And we really feel like, again, that there's a lot of fire metaphors apparently when we did our vision board exercise that really led to this brand. So how we launched that program was really, we took a look at our Innovate PSL Academy. We also decided that if we're going to create culture change, we want to create a process that's going to ignite the entire city team. We need to partner with the city leadership team and get them on board. And so we did that, and we spoke to them. But I'm going to turn it over now to our team, to Phillip and Sabrina, to talk about how the academy, like the evolution we went through with the Innovate PSL Academy.
Yeah, thanks, Kate. Kate's our secret weapon, by the way, for getting our strong partnership with our city's leadership team. Thanks, Kate. So our in-person training shift was comprised initially of 3 90-minute sessions for a single cohort, which is typically about 15 strong. We cover fishbone and root cause analysis, standard work, process mapping, the 8 waste, 6S, and workspace organization. And we incorporate storytelling into each section of our training, right? Because stories are what really connects us to the material. It helps us connect to how this matters to our daily work. And that's really what it's all about, right? I mean, our whole goal is that, yes, you know this stuff now, but please continue to apply it in your work. You've come up with one innovation. Now it's up to you to take this and herald it to other members of our staff in our city. So that's, you know, if you make it matter, it really sticks. And that's really the most important part. We can teach the tools all day, but when we drive the emotion behind why it really matters to them, then we know that the tools will be applied ad infinitum, right? In work, in life. And that's what it's all about.
And then we have our next goal, which is keeping the innovation culture burning. So our first goal is really at the heart is our training and promoting our innovation, our Innovate PSL. But here it's more about sustainability and making sure that the program continues on, even if our positions change at all, and even to make sure that we continually to grow the number of people that are constantly, growing themselves, constantly being empowered. And so at the heart of this, we have like the Innovate PSL team, which is basically a team of mentors around the city that kind of will help to make sure that the program continues to run. So that includes having budget aligned with it, having recognition ceremonies and awards to show that what they're doing, what the innovations that they're doing are making a difference in the city. And continuing to challenge and survey to evaluate and see if the program is still up to date and still in line with what our city employees need to become the empowered change makers that we know that they are. And then we also have a green belt here in the picture, and that's because this program we're building it so that it could be a green belt, and then hopefully to make it a black belt as well, so people have the option to continue to be to continue to become innovators and to keep innovating throughout the city. And so with that, I'm going to pull up our next poll, which is, what do you all do to recognize your innovators or your high performers in your own cities or counties?
So for this one, you guys can just put your thoughts into chat, right? So techniques you use, how do you recognize innovators and or high performers, if it's ad hoc or if it's a standard program. I think when I think about working with healthcare right now, one of the projects they see is they have huddle boards, right? So every morning they gather in 15 minutes, and one of the first things they do is recognize people, right? So who's done what's recognition, and who do they want to sort of call out? So that's a regular thing. And then I know some of the leaders I work with, they have standard work. So they'll say once per, right, whatever it is, like it's once a week, once a month, I'm going to recognize the person who's contributed the most or contributed something significant for that month. And they'll put that out sort of on a broader scale. You've got one here from Laurelyn. They said, we have a series of yearly staff awards, and one of them is for innovation and quality improvement. So that's every year. And then Katie, as a statewide performance office, recognition is monthly newsletters and annual reports. And they're developing a new Better Government Awards program. That's cool. That would be a good.
Yeah, that's really great. Wow.
And then Lawrence said it aligns with hers. That's the series of yearly staff awards that align with their performance evaluation section that defines that feature. Does that resonate for you guys?
Yes. Yeah. I know Kate and Phillip. Yeah, I think definitely. I'll let you guys speak on it. Sorry.
No, I think those are great ideas. Yeah. And
that's awesome.
Make us think of some new things for our program too.
Yes. Thank you.
One more from AJ. We have a daily, weekly recognition through a kudos channel. Ooh, that's intriguing. Plus a more formal recognition for bigger initiatives end of month. And then Jana said, or Jana, we have recognition reel that we play before department meeting. Ooh, I love that. A recognition reel. And then Michael said in February, a 6-month long employee innovation academy / project-based learning initiative culminated in a showcase event open to employees to walk around in almost like a science fair format. Oh, that's cool. I've seen some of those before.
Really creative.
Yeah, they're great. I love
Very
these.
creative.
I
That's
missed the
awesome.
science fair. That sounds amazing.
Did you rock the science fair, Phillip? Did you have like the volcano?
It was way better than Volcano.
Did you guys see what Jana said? the winner got a dedicated parking spot. Now that, I don't know if that
That
matters
is-
for you guys. That could be.
That would
that'd be a
great for
that'd be a
us.
bloodbath for
Now that's
Uh,
incentive.
yeah.
We wanted to spark innovation. Like we were thinking of these like sprint challenges, maybe that we've been forgetting about these incentives. This is a better incentive, the parking spot.
Yeah.
That's great.
All right. With your name
well-
on it too.
Yes, thank you all so much for that. So I want to continue and have Kate go through the third goal of ours.
Sure. Well, I think so. Our other goal in our strategic plan is to activate meaningful data. And that's an area that we really recognize as something we're really in progress on as a city. When, Sabrina and Phillip jumped in and started helping different departments, we worked on projects throughout the city on everything from septic to sewer, this grinder project, or looking at our 311 data. We realized that we really don't have all of the data we need to really do this kind of work to the best of our ability. So we really know that that's a key component of our work moving forward. So we want to connect people with data. We want to help our organization from a culture perspective see that data matters, that we want to let the data drive the solution. And so we're creating a data strategy and governance policy citywide. We've convened our team through our Innovate PSL team and through our data strategy governance group, where we're all collaborating with departments. And our city manager has said, we collect all these different data points on every household. We could really, if we harness the power of that data, could find more solutions and better serve our residents. So we're working through that process. We're very grateful that we are getting shepherded through the What Works City certification process, which is offered through Bloomberg Philanthropies. And then we were just chosen that's why I was a little late to the call, because we were just jumping off that onboarding session that we are participating in the Harvard City Leadership Initiative this year. Our mayor is one of only 40 mayors chosen in the world. And so their city manager and I got to participate in the staff level program today. So they're going to help us also learn from other cities on how we can better use data. And I think that's one of the things, this whole program, what we do is, the great thing about working in local government is that we're not competitors, we're collaborators. We are all just trying to help get better, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can reach out to another city and learn what they learned and try to replicate it here and see what we can bring, and vice versa. We hope if there's something we've learned along the way of how do you create a program without a dedicated staff and try to spark change, we love to share and to see what's working. So that's kind of one of our goals of activating meaningful data, and we hope to have a great data catalog and to be able to really go into the future using data as our decision making. So Sabrina is going to talk now about co-creating innovation.
Yes. So then our fourth goal. So our first goal is really focused on launching the program, and then the second one was about sustaining the program. And the third one was about making sure we had data to better the program. And so this one is really about partnership and partnering with others, because we know that we can't just have it in people's own departments. It needs to be shared interdepartmentally, cross departments. And it also needs to go, it's not just for our city, the innovations, we're trying to improve not only what we do for us, right, but also for our community, for our city as a whole. And so it's really making sure that we're partnering with our community partners to better our general services, as well as partnering just with the nonprofits, community partners, the other county that is over us, and just making sure that we're constantly improving our city here. And so it's about co-creating the change. It's about building mentorships within our city as well to help facilitate and continue the program. It's making sure our goal here was also we were like, why not shoot for stars? We want to be a nationally recognized innovation program here at Port St. Lucie. And we even had, we had a little picture here of TEDx, because we have the idea of why not have a PSLX here, and to keep growing our success in our partners and really just spreading the word of all the great things that I know that our employees are doing, and letting them know that, we have so many change makers here in the city, and it's really giving them that platform. And so, with those four goals, we were able to, now we're getting somewhere in sustaining our Innovate PSL. Before just online, we were just doing, just the training really, and just improving individuals and just departments as a whole. But this is actually growing the culture of the change makers. And so, you know, with growing a culture, you need to also measure that you're growing in the right direction, right? So performance measures at the heart of everything. And so I won't go through all of these, but we have performance measures based off of all 4 goals, you know, everything from just like the number of participants and the satisfaction, to making sure that, you know, certifications and how much savings, dollar savings and time has been saved by their changes, and making sure that our data policies and data practices are aligned. And what work certification that Kate brought up, you know, is we're working to be certified, but we want to constantly grow. They are also in their own tier level. So, you know, making sure that our performance there is never falling down, and you know, just making sure that like people are proud of our program, and that our programs are growing in really the right direction. So with that, I'm going to let Phillip here talk about how we are starting to work the plan. You know, we set up those goals, and so what are we doing now to get to them?
Yeah. So as we work the plan, as we continue with our in-person hybrid training methods, it's really about developing our staff, right? Our commitment to invest and empower our staff, give them basic tools and watch them blossom. Everybody's got problems. So, you know, our job as facilitators is to allow a space that's safe enough for them to be vulnerable, to make those mistakes, so that it happens there, right, in the training room and not out in the field in front of our customers, or, you know, to break down the muscle to build it back stronger, right? And the best part about bringing them into the classroom sometimes is that peer-to-peer interaction that you see happening, right? Allowing folks from varying departments or divisions or you know, business units to come together and interact with their peers and solve problems, giving them that time and space that's needed to try and fail, right? To brainstorm, to implement their ideas. Innovation is one of my favorite topics to train. It's exciting, at the least thrilling, right? It's constant, and best of all, it promotes what training really is all about. It's making life easier. And with what? Standard work, SOPs, 6S, checklists? Heck yes. It's providing folks with what they need in the flow of work. It's going to their workplaces, finding out their problems, and then working with them to create something to help them or empower them to help themselves and others as well. So that, along with our, you know, working with behavioral insights team, pursuing What Works Cities certification, you know, this is all what's coming in the future as we continue to work the plan.
Yes, and you know, and some of the other things we started was really about, again, just keeping that whole, getting all levels involved. And we just had our first ever, we called it our STAT quarterly meetings. So we have 49 project managers in the strategic plan, and we have the leadership team, and we all sat around a table and we talked about their projects, their progress, what are their milestones, what are their, you know, their roadblocks, and again, just trying to create that culture of problem solving and sharing as a team, and trying to you know, chase cross-departmental solutions. So that's been launched, and that was part of our thought process through this program. We've launched our Innovate PSL departmental team. We don't have a centralized, unlike Peak Academy, which has a dedicated staff. We do this on top of other responsibilities, and so what we have is really a program where there's a representative from every department on the Innovate PSL team, and they're the Sherpa for that department. They're the champion that says, come to the training. They're looking, their talent scouts saying, okay, you really, you know, trying to encourage those that are trying to learn some new skills to grow, and just trying to create that culture where we empower everyone throughout the departments to become a part of this movement really in the city. And we even were able to learn from other innovators. We got to visit Peak Academy in Denver in June, which was an amazing experience to be able to sit in one of their black belt classes. They've long been, you know, an inspiration for us. And they let us put a pin for Port St. Lucie. There's cities throughout the country that have a map, and they let us put a pin there because we're one of those cities that were inspired by them. And we were actually in Denver because we were finalists for the All-America City Awards, one of 20 cities. And so we were very proud, and have Sabrina was our captain and did an incredible job leading our team. And we were able to talk about what we're doing on youth engagement. So, so there's been lots of really, and we just appointed our youth council this week that was part of that initiative. So there's just a lot of great positive things. It's happening really quickly, but also very strategically, where we're really trying to create this momentum for positive change in the city. We don't want anyone that wants to be a part of this future in the city and to be an employee of the city that wants to grow. We just hope they know, and we want them to create an environment that they can feel fully empowered to be a change maker. Because we say that, I speak at orientation, and we need everybody to face the magnitude of the needs of the city in the next few years. And as we grow and change, we're described as a teenager whose clothes do not fit anymore as a city. So we are going through growing pains, and so because of that, we need everyone's skills and talents to solve problems and also find innovative solutions that we haven't found before. So that's one of the ways that we are working the plan. Growing teenagers, yes. And
yes.
Sabrina.
So yeah, so I'm just gonna wrap up here, and then just innovation is still the answer, and it's by empowering our change makers. So we started, like we said, during the pandemic, completely online at our innovation program, and it was kind of like it lit the innovation fire. But as people started to withdraw from online, it was really like the fire was dwindling, and so we had the chance to pause to plan, which was working with Elizabeth and going through just in time and getting a actual work plan together, and that kind of gave oxygen to the fire again. And by giving that oxygen to the fire, we're able to now create a program that not only just like empowers an individual for a little time, right, like just going through making one little change. We want to make sustainable change in the city, and so this really has stoked the fire again. And by making it in person, it's made it even stronger. And having that data component, having the sustainability component, making sure that we're working with our partners, it's really just overall making a culture here at Port St. Lucie to continuously empower change makers. And at the heart, isn't that what a strategic plan should do? It should make it go forward for the future. And so really, I want to leave you all with this question. Phillip?
How do you keep your innovation culture burning?
Yes.
Well, you guys think about that and put some answers in the chat, because you've been incredibly generous with really great stuff in the chat. Lots of Kindle, Tracy says. Well, I want to come back to a couple of questions that came from Katie Bockwalt. Katie is leading continuous improvement efforts in the state for the state of Vermont, right? So she's keenly interested in the sort of the governmental efforts to make this stuff happen. And one of her questions, she's got two great ones, but one of them was, she's seen some organizations struggle with the term innovation versus continuous improvement. So can you guys explain how you reconcile these terms for your workforce, and why would you choose one over the other, pros and cons? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who wants to take it, but I'll start off, and everyone might chime in. But one of the great things we do in the first meeting of our training actually is to say, define an innovator. Tell us someone who you consider to be an innovator, and how confident you are as an innovator, like on a scale of 0 to 5. And what's really interesting is every time we do that exercise, I think we always get like the big shots named as innovators. Like you get like the Bill Gates or like the Elon Musk or like, Leonardo da Vinci, Benjamin Franklin, like all the people, like the big ones. And I think we prefer the words innovation, and we say continuous improvement or process improvement while we're training as well. But it gives, I think, a more substantial to realize that like you are also making a change. You also can list your own name. You can list, the people that inspire you in your work. And I think for us, it just kind of gives it like more of a down to earth rather than like an up to the sky like goal. That like incremental changes, incremental process improvements are like can make a huge difference in an organization. if everyone just saved like $10 a day in our organization, we have 1,000 employees, you know, and they did that year over year. Like that just adds up so much. So I think that's why we go with more like innovation, because we think you're just as big on that scale when we all work together on this. And I think that's like the heart of what we're trying to do. And I don't know, Phillip, Kate, you guys jump in, you know, but.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree with you, Sabrina. I was going to talk about the first day as well, because it's true. You know, we say if you could do one thing a little bit better than you did, you know, today, tomorrow, that's how much better we could be, right? And so, you know, what kind of effects that those have, extrapolate that, you know, that's incredible stuff. So, you know, the incremental innovation teaching in that, you know, it's possible for every single person, not to make it this, you know, mythical thing that is difficult to approach, but in that, you know, every single person could. So yeah, we use them interchangeably, I would say, but we definitely start by saying innovation, and then continuous improvement, right? Just to say like, hey, take this and make this happen each day. So.
Yeah, I think the word innovator has agency, you know, I think it's, you know, and sometimes we've said like, if you have figured out, if you're a parent, you can figure out how to get your child to eat your vegetables, you're an innovator. I think sometimes like people realize like we're kind of demystifying, like you're a problem solver, you know, but innovation, I think really it gives people agency. And, you know, in our strategic plan, we have a goal of being a high performing government organization. So it's kind of continuous improvement, right? To be high performing, but our strategy is to advance innovation. So I think at our project is the Innovate PSL program. So I think that it's like it's something that I think people can get more excited about, is really advancing innovation than rather than continuous improvement. You know, I think it just gives a bit more agency.
I remember this conversation early on working with you guys and you explaining to me just that being called an innovator, like people being called, you're an innovator, and that had, you call it agency. I think another word is like cachet, like, you know, yeah, I'm an innovator, like that's exciting. So I was impressed with that. I want to come back to the question you asked, Phillip. How do you keep your innovation culture burning? Because you've got an answer here from Michael. He says constantly experimenting, and in parentheses, new learning experiences for employees, new ways to build cross-departmental stickiness. I like that term. And relationships. I guess the stickiness is the relationships. Finding partners to build stuff with rather than flying solo. I love that. I think it always is so much richer. And then letting go and letting other people lead. That's a great one. And another one here is from Terry. He says innovation. Oh, this is back to our discussion, I think. I just want to let you take in Michael's comment there. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I think too, like the fact our innovation program is cross-departmental, like it just being able to work with other people that maybe that like someone from parks working with someone from the police department, you know, and I think that you really learn, we follow the bright spots theory of change. Like if something's working well, let's replicate it in another department. And I think I like that sticky term too. But Sabrina and Phillip, what do you think?
I was going to say that is not easy to do, Michael, and so that is just that much more impressive, right? I mean, letting people go and letting others lead, that's hard. That's not easy, and it's so vital. So, you know, constantly experimenting, that's amazing advice for everyone, but to be vulnerable and do that, it can be tough. So, you know, that's awesome.
And then I'm going to bring you back to the innovation discussion. You've got two additions here. Terry said innovation is more inclusive. He thinks such as innovation will benefit residents, employees, and other stakeholders, you know, why we do it. Whereas the continuous improvement will be perceived more narrowly. The how we do it. Interesting. And Katie said she agrees innovation is definitely catchier and encourages you to think bigger. And she kind of sees them as an evolution, continuous improvement versus revolution, innovation. Ooh, I like that. Evolution and revolution. And they stick with CI because 95% of improvement in government is evolution as opposed to revolution. Well, you're changing that, Port St. Lucie, aren't you?
Well, and I think that is a good point. But I also think, when I think of other companies like Uber, right? Like they didn't do something really revolutionary, in terms of existing. They just kind of, taxis already existed, right? Picking people up and driving them to another location. So it wasn't like a completely revolutionary. They kind of adapted to what the technology provided, right? Which was like GPS and able to pick up, having to pinpoint people a bit better, and they call and then not having specific people assigned, like taxis. Like there's a taxi cab driver, you can hand anybody date, you can check in, check out whenever you want. They took little pieces of a bunch of other people's types of jobs and works and put it together to make Uber. And so I realized that wasn't like an evolution, or no, sorry, it wasn't a revolution. It was more of an evolution of a bunch of little things. But Uber is still massive, and it kind of made this whole shift in society. So like, to me, I think innovation, it is, yes, revolutionary, but I also think sometimes evolutionary is just as important and can just be as innovative. I guess it's like my heart. Like Uber is not a revolution, it's an evolution. But I think it made a huge impact on society overall, right? So I think that's why I think, I think they're really like semantics for the names. But like, I think it just, we see people ourselves are able to like be more proud when they say, I made this innovation, versus like, I made this continuous improvement, like it's just like having that stronger term behind it. So
yeah, no, I think the term does have significance. You're reminding me of like 2-second lean, right? The idea of like, if you can shave 2 seconds off your process every day, like that's going to get us where we're going to go. I wanted to come back to another question that Katie had, and she said, it's a big question. What's the content of your training program? And then the second part of that is, are you providing different training specifically for managers and supervisors?
That's an awesome question, Katie. I think that it's funny that you ask. We're actually talking about that currently, right? Is providing different training specifically for managers and supervisors. I kind of alluded to the content of the training and like what we cover. There was too much, right? So we actually had to hack and slash most of it from what we had wanted to deliver in the short period of time that we 3 90-minute sessions or whatever. So there's a great deal of content that we left out, like visual management, production boards, communication circles, that we saw value in having it, but decided against it ultimately in favor of, more established, I guess, more relevant to the daily work of a greater audience. So yes, we want to provide different training specifically for managers and supervisors.
I think the answer is not yet. Right.
And when we started, we originally had a training for managers and supervisors at the beginning of the program that we brought we worked with Brian Elms, and he was amazing, and he spoke to them, and then we had the individual training. But I think where we're at now is this chapter of creating our own program, and that's something that we have to build. So that's the next step.
We're learning too.
Yeah.
And, that's funny because whenever I had mentioned the 138 virtual training sessions, right, these are for our voluntary, they were virtual at the time. Now there's more in person, but this was just for professional development, right? So supervisory upskill or customer service, just training that I have to do as part of my job responsibilities. And then on top of that, we have the Innovation and Innovate PSL Academy, right? So just a lot of good content that we want, we have for our staff. That we can always make better. That's the best part, I think, of training, is that it could always be better, and we can always make it better. So that's always excitement for the future.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that you guys and anyone in that position of what do you bring to the people, what do you include for content, and what do you focus on, is the decision includes what not to do. And that's often as critical, that, I know you've run into situations where people think, well, just add it, get it in there so that they know it. Whereas the reality is, well, if you add 3 more things, they know everything less, the impact overall is less. And that's a hard one, I think, for people. They'll say, why you didn't include X? And it's like, well, if we included that, what are we going to take out? Right? We got this much time. And like you said, it's voluntary, right?
Yep.
And if word gets out, oh my God, they got 10 pounds of whatever in a, 5-pound bag. It's woof, that thing is too much. Like, as opposed to, wow, I got stuff I can use right now. And I'm educated in such a way that I can apply it. Right. And I'm excited. So that the truth will out.
Thank you so much for saying that, Elizabeth. It's so important to make that note, right? I mean, because each class you're wondering like, oh, this seasoned veteran is here, who helped me with my innovation struggles. What are they going to think of the class now, right? But then you had to leave that information out because yes, there is such a thing as information overload, and so content dumping is not going to help your employees at all. So and that's why I would say again, like the storytelling function is just it's an incredible aspect of training that I think is tying it to emotion and making it really matter to your staff. If you can't do that, then leave it out. Because that's what's going to make it really stick. So
big time.
That's what I would say.
Big time. Any other questions for this formidable panel here? These city innovators. I am so excited that you guys got selected, one of 40 cities in the entire world. I was about to write. I was writing the letter to let people know we had to delay this a half hour. And I was looking at your statement. I was like, oh, 40 cities, in the US. And then I was like, no, world. Wow. It's a huge, huge honor and so exciting. And you're going to have to come back after you get through that or, see what you make of that. Because I think what you guys do is so exciting to see that spread, right? To see it, just these cities become models for each other. And I think you talked about this early on when we worked together, was that cities are where things can happen, right? You think about sometimes states get more constricted. Obviously, the federal government has a lot of what we call gridlock, but man, cities are fluid, right? You guys can move and change and make stuff happen. And that is exciting.
Yeah. We say government is the government closest to you, we're the close, so I think that's what's exciting in terms of change making. We really can impact people's everyday lives, and everything from process improvement. If someone's trying to get their kid dropped off at summer camp and it's taking too long, that's an issue for someone's job or, in someone's life. So there's so many things we can do to make things better for all of our residents and in a million ways and through a million change makers. So.
Absolutely. Well, you've sparked Katie here. She wants to connect with you about training. Yes. So she said, we just updated our program, but we may have grown it too much. Are you training specifically on innovation techniques like prototyping, risk management, that go beyond classic continuous improvement and lean problem solving tools?
Not yet. But that's what we're looking at for the blackout. So I think that, and what's great is like we're working, and I'm working with chief innovators in other cities. We're all working together because, Peak Academy, the former director of Peak Academy told me, she's like, we created this before the pandemic. You all need to innovate on that, so we all need to kind of come together, and we're working with Peak Academy. And what does the future of innovation programming look like to meet the challenges of our world? So I think we can all build it together.
I agree. And I'm going to end on Michael's comments. I struggle with that, leaving stuff out or condensing. Sometimes it's fun to drop a nugget or a concept and then leave them with a book, an article, a resource to go learn more. And I love that aspect. Tracy and I use that in our problem solvers toolkit. We called it sightseeing. Like, here's the basics. Here's the trouble you're going to run into. Here's what you can do. Hey, you want to know more? Sightseeing. Here's some links to, like you said, an article, and some other nugget, which is great. Thank you so much, Katie, Michael, and everyone for chiming in here, making this a great discussion. And thank you so much, Kate, Phillip, and Sabrina. You have been phenomenal. And I look forward to seeing where you are going. Man, this is awesome. All right. Well, take care, everybody. Yes. Thank you, Isabel. I agree. It's a great session. Yes, agreed, Luz. It was a great presentation. I saved the chat because there's so much good stuff in here. I'll share it with you guys because I thought they had some really great input. Take care, everyone. Bye. And I'll see you next month.
Thanks
you so much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thanks,
Thank you,
Tracy.
Elizabeth. And
Thanks,
Tracy.
everyone.
Elizabeth, you helped us so much. Thank you.